Hi guys, today we're going to take a look at the 1988 vintage vehicle, the Desert Fox, 6-wheel drive, along with Skidmark, the figure that came with it. This is the picture of the box art off the front here. Uh, Special thanks to yojo.com for quite a bit of information there, which is kind of cool. But the Desert Fox was kind of a desert vehicle, had the desert look to it, 6-wheel drive for some desert maneuvering. And now we'll also take a look at my version. Now this is a totally complete vehicle other than I do not have the antenna that went on the back. But it's a pretty good looking vehicle. Not real crazy about the orange, but the brown and the light tan work really good for this vehicle for a desert vehicle. Not, like I said, I'm not real crazy about the orange there because it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. I think it should have been maybe a lighter brown color, but that's just my opinion. So let's take a look at a little bit about this issue in 1988. I don't have a file card, so I'm going to, yojo.com has a version of that right here, and we'll take a look at that shortly. So let's get Skidmark out of the cockpit seat right here, set him aside. We'll take a look at him later. Let's get some information from the Ultimate Guide to G.I. Joe, 3rd edition. And there is your Desert Fox 6-wheel drive with Skidmark there. And the Desert Fox's special features are as follows: 2 Scorpion SS-12 anti-tank missiles, a front working steering axle, 3-layer wheels resistant to heat and puncture, a rear-mounted 20mm automatic loading anti-aircraft cannon set on a one-man aluminum armored turret, a close-range surveillance radar or tubular antenna, a 327 CID 350 bhp supercharged engine, and room for 6 G.I. Joe team members in both the vehicle's cockpit and on its rear battle platform. The Desert Fox's easily lost pieces include 2 missiles, the antenna, the cannon, and the cannon mount, which is there. I bought this online. It did not come with an antenna. I have not been able to locate one yet, but I will eventually if I see one at a good price. So that's what the Ultimate Guide to G.I. Joe had to say about that, and thanks to them for that. This is Mark Balomo. Special thanks to him for that. Now I do have the instruction sheet and the blueprints to this vehicle, and we'll go over that real quick, and then we'll go over the figure itself. But number 1 is the ballistically shaped deflection hood, which would be this here. Ballistically shaped deflection hood, just meaning that anything hits it's going to hopefully deflect off of it over the canopy. And then an integrated roll bar with tubular stiffened frame, which is the dark brown framework here. I'm going to pull one of these missiles off so you can get a better look at that. It does have the lights on the top of it there, going down and back where the missiles hook on there. It's a pretty cool big part of the vehicle is this roll cage here. And it does have the cockpit assembly on the inside is the same color, although it is a separate piece. And then we go to number 3, which is the Scorpion SS-12 anti-tank missiles, which are these orange things with the dumbbell attachments on them, where you can attach a vehicle to that. And of course they slide on just like that. They're not really, I don't think they're designed after any real type missile possible with the double fins like that. Maybe a mini Tomahawk or something. But that's the missile right there. I like the missiles. They're just fine. I just don't care for the bright orange. I don't know what they were going for. 1988 was a great year for G.I. Joe. figures and vehicles. I don't know why they were going for this really bright orange on a desert vehicle. It's kind of like painting a red target on the thing. But then you have your number 4. We'll go to a 20 millimeter automatic loading anti-aircraft cannon, which is that brown thing right there. It does clip on, and it will raise to about so high there and down to about right there. But that is the cannon. It's brown. It has 2 handles on the back for G.I. Joes to hang on to. I wouldn't recommend sticking any G.I. Joe hands in there because they will break. If you do, I would just place them on there very lightly. You can break the hands. But the air induction hood intake slots, the armored radiator, which would be this here, and the intake slots are down here. This thing right here, that's what they are. The intake slots is what they are calling those. Then you have your headlights here, which is next, I believe. The lightning hood mounted high intensity off-road headlamps, which are those. That's just a easy design there. They could have painted them maybe yellow or something like that, or white, just to give them some kind of a contrast, but they didn't. And then you have the 3-layer carbon honeycomb alloy modular wheels, which are those there. And the wheels do turn a little bit as far as the axle goes, but I would not force it. You have a tendency to break that axle on the inside, and then you'll have some problems. But for the most part, they can turn a little bit. But then you have your Scout all-terrain tested bulletproof tires, which are those there, made of plastic. So I wouldn't try any real bullets on those. But then you have a 327 CID/350 BHP supercharged engine, which is housed in there where it says turbo. It doesn't open up to show any kind of engine detail, but this is your turbocharged engine here. Kind of wish it did open up a little bit, add another play feature to it. But then you have your Scout all-terrain, your driver commander multi-adjustable seats, which is there. Pardon me for some of the dust that's in there. I just haven't had time to clean this out real quick. But there's your cockpit with the seats there. You have 2. You have a little console panel there. Let's see if we can take a look inside. And you can see the steering wheel has a couple little compartments there on the inside. And there's your console with your gear shifts. There's a couple little buttons down there. Has a little vent in there, inside there. But not a whole lot of detail. But again, it is in that dark brown plastic, which I kind of like. It goes good with the light tan of the body. And then you have the dark green also, which is good. I wish they would have made maybe this turret, maybe a different shade of green, maybe a lighter shade of green, or even black would have been nice. But orange, I don't really like the orange. Like I said, that's just me. And then we look at the Xenon high intensity roll cage mounted desert lights. That would be these here in the front, and those should have maybe some kind of decals or something to put on those, just to make them look a little better, make them stand out. But you can customize it if you want, or keep it original. But then you have your one-man aluminum armored turret. That would be this. Let me make sure this stays on. This gun's going to fall out here in a second if I don't take care of it. This always happens when I do these. It's a disaster. Anyway, I got to get my right hand in here. The left hand's not doing it. but that's how that sits. And this will turn 360 degrees around like that. And it does have 2 pegs to hold figures on, hold a figure on. And then it's saying number 13 is a dual transaxle pivoting rear wheel drive unit, which is just these 2 tandem wheels on the back here. Here's what the bottom of it looks like. Not a lot of detail. It has a little bit of a, I don't know if that's a winch underneath there, which it should be, but they don't have a hook. Pretty plain underneath, and that's where the turret clips in there and the body clips in. There's your 1988 Hasbro, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. All rights reserved. Pretty plain underneath. And there's your little axle part there. And then last, you would have your close range surveillance radar and your tubular antenna. I can't show you the tubular antenna because I do not have it. But there's your radar with some pretty cool features on there. A little bit of detail there. And then the back, if we take a look at the back here, we do have a tow hook, the standard tow hook for towing some extra accessories, like maybe the Whirlwind or something like that, or other vehicles. And there's the hole where the antenna goes. And like I said, I wish that olive green color there was the color of that, but it's not, so we got to live with it. But that's your Desert Fox vehicle there. I like it. I like the design of it because you can fit 2 figures here, one there and also one back here. Probably another one standing too. Actually 2. It says 6, but I think they're pushing it. I think 5 would be comfortable in there. But we'll show you how they seat themselves in here in a second. We're going to take a look at the blueprints overall right here. There's where your how you put the decals on. You have your fuel tank in the back. And what didn't really do that great of a job putting the decals on, but not too bad. I'm just going to leave them as is. But I do like the radar seat there. Looks pretty cool. And of course we can take breaker and set breaker back there. Bend his legs a little bit and seat breaker in here. It seems like a good man for the job. Right there. And that's how he would look. Doesn't have a seat belt to hold him in, so more likely during play you might fall out the back or fall forward if you stop too fast, unless he's hanging on to something. But there's breaker in the radar seat. And now we'll take a look at Skidmark. And there's the figure Skidmark there. And first we're gonna get rid of the blueprints for now. We'll take a look at his file card. Codename Skidmark, which I don't really care for that name. It's a pretty poor name for a G.I. Joe. It's kind of a joke name. And just think if you were on a G.I. Joe team and they gave you Skidmark as your call sign. That's kind of like, I don't know. It's like calling somebody panty waist or something like that, or Skidmark, or, you know. But he's the G.I. Joe Desert Fox 6-wheel driver. The file name, Columbiana, Cyril Columbani, I guess you would say that. His serial number is there. Primary military specialty is fast attack vehicle driver. Secondary military specialty is infantry. His birthplace is Los Angeles, California. His grade is E4. Now, so Skidmark was the kid that was held up by your mother as a shining example of everything that you were not. He was annoyingly polite, maddeningly maddeningly well-groomed and excruciatingly successful in his studies. There was a collective sigh of relief from his contemporaries when he received his first driver's license and subsequently shattered all known records for the accumulation of speeding violations. He keeps his locker and Bay Area squared away and spotless. It makes everyone else look bad by comparison. This could have been cause for resentment if he wasn't the fastest and most reliable recon driver around. The worst thing that his teammates can say about him is the best thing that a soldier can say about another soldier. He does his job. But Skidmark, I don't know. They could have came up with something better. Something like maybe, I don't know, anything but Skidmark. But that's his file card, and let's take a look at the figure. As you can see, his head sculpt there is a pretty good head sculpt. He has an orange helmet, which I wish was green. The dark forest green would have been a lot better for that, and a black vest would have been much better. And then you could have painted these a little bit lighter green, maybe the color of his pants. But he has sunglasses on. He has a double-eared helmet that does not remove. If I can get this to focus good. Then he has this bright orange vest with a jump knife, some extra cartridges, and he has a holster with a black pistol. And part of it looks like a communications device. The rest look like just extra bullets, cartridges for weapons. Pretty nice vest. Wish it had a little bit more detail. It does have some pockets and other items there. He has a green sweater on. I don't know if that would be that good in the desert heat, but there it is there on both arms. He has no gloves, bare hands. He has, looks like a communications hose going around to the back that goes inside of the vest, which is fine. It doesn't go all the way down, but it's probably some kind of communications vest. And the other side is just a belt going in, the same thing. It does have a hole for a backpack, which is standard for most. He has these light olive green pants. The belt is the same color. The belt goes all the way around to the back, which he has two pockets, which goes down to a orange, it looks like almost like a short sawed-off rifle with a band of bullets around his leg there. And then he has a pocket on this side, which goes down to a blouse of the trousers there with some orange boots. And there's the orange boots there. Now, why they chose orange, I don't know. I'm not crazy about the orange, but it is what it is. That is Skidmark. That is probably one of the worst names for a G.I. Joe that I can think of. And let's put him in the vehicle. Let me set this down for a second so I can prepare him to get in the vehicle. You don't need to really bend his legs that much. So what we do is make sure the pivot, the weapon is spun around to the back side. I usually go in through the roll cage here and set him right straight down into the seat like that, which is pretty good. You can have a pretty clear view. And you do the same for the others. And you can set his arms up on the steering wheel for display. And like I said, you can get probably 1, 2, 3, 4 more figures in there, but I would just say another one in the seat, one on the gun, and one on the radar is just fine. That would be comfortable to have 4. And there is your Desert Fox from 1988. I give this vehicle probably a 7.5 out of 10, just because of the colors. And I think they just missed out on a couple details that they could have made better. mostly paint. The color of the bright orange just does not work. I think they could have used black or a different shade of green, maybe forest green. And I think they should have had an opening compartment showing some engine detail there. And maybe a little bit, a couple more paint applications here. But I know it's about saving some money. But that is your Desert Fox vehicle from 1988. And thanks for watching. This is Tim for G.I. Joe Immortal.